Fox 14. You're watching Fox 14.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
You are indeed, and right now it's 7. Yesterday kicked off the tradition of third Thursdays in Joplin. There was a giant dinosaur in there. Our very own Amber Jenkins was there and has more for us.
Also, the suspect wanted in a fatal stabbing in early March is apprehended.
And we've got ourselves an absolutely cloudy start for some, clear skies for others. We've got a cold front coming through. We will look at that forecast to get you out the door coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner, just after 7 o'clock on this finally Friday in the 4 states. We have made it.
Friday, but you know what? Yesterday was the first third Thursday of the year.
It was the first third, that's a fun one. That's a lot. That's a lot. It was the first third Thursday. Yeah, I guess it's like those banks. There's like a bank called Fifth Third Bank.
Oh, is there now?
Yeah.
Fifth Third Bank.
Yeah. I don't get it, but okay. But hey, we had our first third Thursday yesterday.
Yes, we did. Well, Joplin residents returned downtown to Joplin for the first time this year. KOAM's Amber Jenkins was there.
The first third Thursday of the season kicked off, welcoming new and old faces.
I wanted to see everything that was going on.
Being the first third Thursday since October, people were eager.
Yeah, I'm an hour and 15 minutes early.
This month, the theme was Go Green.
We try to bring something plant-related to give away every third Thursday. Well, since I became involved midway through third Thursday last year.
These community plant lovers pass out plants that also have a meaning to Joplin.
Once last year, towards fall, we gave away iris tubers, which is Joplin's flower.
Reporting in Joplin, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
The next third Thursday is planned for April 18th.
It's always a good time to get to those third Thursday events because they are a lot of fun. I remember when they first started them, they got a great turnout, and that turnout has just continued to be fantastic.
Absolutely, it's great to see everyone come out and enjoy local businesses and just different events.
Oh yeah, and it brings people to downtown, and you got to get downtown. There's a lot of things if you don't go down there that you're missing out on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And today, at least ahead of this cold front, not a bad day to explore downtown of any community out there, because I've mentioned it before, there are a lot of unique communities here in our area, so you got to get out there and explore the 4 states. And as we head into spring and summer, we'll have opportunities to do that. Our camera downtown Joplin Cornell Complex, we've got mostly cloudy skies in Joplin right now, and it's because of a little bit of a cloud shield that's out there. MoDOT camera 32nd in range line, looking back to the west, it is still cloudy in Joplin. The clouds will continue to lift in from the south to the north ahead of a cold front out there today. 51 in Joplin right now, 49 in Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh's actually like right on the cusp of that cloud shield. And you can kind of see roughly where that cloud shield is, where it's kept some warmer air locked in. So we're in the low to mid 50s in parts of Missouri, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. And you go further north, we start to get into the low to mid 40s out there. As we get through the day, again, a cold front approaching this afternoon. Now it's going to move in from northwest to southeast. So places Yates Center, Burlington, you're going to get a little cooler before the rest of us do, but gradually temperatures will fall. They don't plummet, which is also good. We're looking at highs ahead of that front, upper 60s. Will be mostly cloudy through the day. Isolated shower or two possible along and ahead of the front. And behind that front, the winds really start to ramp up out of the north with occasional gusts to 30 miles an hour out there. Again, this cold front will make us pretty chilly, but it's not overly powerful. But we do have another one heading into Sunday we're keeping an eye on. We'll have all the details on that in your full forecast here in a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, the Red Cross offers its assistance after a fire destroys an apartment building in Chanute, Kansas, and leaves one person dead. Authorities say the Cornerstone Apartments caught fire around 1 yesterday morning. All 24 units of the complex were occupied at the time. When first responders arrived, they found the south half of the building fully engulfed. Officers evacuated the building, but numerous people were injured and one person died. Red Cross disaster workers were at the Chanute City Park Pavilion until 6 yesterday evening to provide their services to families in need. The organization says residents who still need assistance should call 1-800-RED-CROSS. Newton County, Missouri authorities capture a murder suspect following a manhunt. Scott Burleson was wanted for the March 2nd stabbing of Seth Langford. Burleson has evaded police several times before, but yesterday afternoon, the Newton County Sheriff's Office caught him and took him into custody without incident. He faces charges of second-degree murder, first-degree robbery, and 2 counts of armed criminal action. Authorities in McDonald County yesterday morning got reports Burleson had stolen a pickup in Southwest City. Yesterday afternoon, he led authorities on a chase into Newton County before being arrested along a wooden area near Jute Road. Preschoolers at Park Elementary in Columbus took part in their annual Trike-a-thon. The event is organized by Cindy Wells, a former teacher at Park Elementary. Wells has been putting on this event along with raising money every year for the St. Jude Children's Hospital in Memphis. The event was organized after Wells' son Dylan lost his battle with cancer in 2005. Her goal is to draw the whole community into the event, even the kids.
Tomorrow, kindergarten and first graders are going to do a little walk-a-thon, and they're going to walk around the square in Columbus and do a little chant. So they're going to do their walking for recess and PE time, and then they're going to sing for music, and just getting all the businesses uptown to realize that these kids are doing something good for the community and for kids their age.
So far, this year's fundraiser has raised nearly $1,100. Cindy says since she started this, the community has raised a total of over $100,000.
We love the community to see that, art is in every single form and every single profession. If you say you're not creative, you're not right. You're definitely creative. So we just want to celebrate these florists because they're usually behind the scenes, and this is just a really great way for us to spotlight this profession and their art.
We apologize for that technical difficulty. Later today, the Spiva Center for the Arts will host events surrounding the exhibit, including a maker's market and a floral workshop. And those are our top stories this half hour. Up next, another presidential government shutdown looms ahead. We'll have the details on how this could affect you.
Only at Vanguard, you're more than just an investor, you're an owner. Fox Saturday Baseball returns March 30th.
Topping Nation Watch this morning. United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken is returning to Israel to reach a sustained and immediate ceasefire in Gaza. Friday today, Blinken will meet with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli War Cabinet. They are expected to discuss a possible offensive move into Rafah by the Israeli military. Blinken has said yesterday a military operation in Rafah would be a mistake. His visit to Tel Aviv comes as the same day as the UN vote on a resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire in the Gaza conflict. The Department of Transportation says it will look into how airlines protect their passengers' personal information. The agency plans to look at the 10 biggest airlines in the country and focus on how they collect and store data. Trade group Airlines for America says U.S. airlines have policies and programs in place to ensure passenger information is kept safe. The Department of Transportation says it prompted to the investigation proactively and has not announced allegations toward any specific company. By this time tomorrow, parts of the federal government could shut down. Lawmakers are rushing to make a budget deadline tonight, but they could miss it. Amy Kiley reports on what that would mean for Americans.
This is what Washington has devolved into.
In mere hours, these federal departments and other agencies could shut down. A plan to keep them open appears to have enough support to pass.
I'm predisposed. We want to keep the government funded.
The question is, when will the legislation be enacted? And the answer determines how this process could affect Americans.
There's a sentiment to try, for a number of reasons, personal and political, to get the job done before midnight.
Scenario 1, on time. This might come down to the Senate, where a single senator can slow a bill's passage.
There needs to be amendments. That's going to happen.
Scenario 2, a few hours late. Approved legislation doesn't just land on President Joe Biden's desk. Clerks need time to prepare it. Earlier this month, Biden signed a budget package hours after the deadline, and it made no real difference. Scenario 3, a day or two late.
It'll probably end up they're going to try to push it to Saturday or Sunday, and they'll work a deal.
That would affect federal employees in unfunded departments who work weekends. Most essential ones would have to work without pay. Scenario 4, even longer. Weekday scenarios have a greater effect on federal workers, access to services, the U.S. economy, and average Americans.
No one practical wants a government shutdown, so I hope we will avoid it.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
And that's a look at Nation Watch this morning. Let's head over to Chris with a quick look at the weather.
Yeah, we've got some cloudy skies for some of us out there, and we've got a cold front that's going to roll through this afternoon, bring some changes to the forecast. We're going to look at all those details here in just a moment. And coming up a little later, a Virginia man is determined to help find an 11-year-old girl. We'll have that story.
Get lucky all March cha-ching long. The United Football League has arrived. Here we go.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 7:15 on this Friday morning, and we have some changes in our forecast over the next couple of days here. We're going to start with today with a cold front that's going to start to make its way in to our northwestern counties by this afternoon, and it'll come in, of course, northwest to southeast, bringing in some much cooler air behind it. And we'll also have, along and ahead of that front, the possibility of a few isolated showers out there. We're otherwise mostly cloudy, and then once we get behind that front, the winds are really going to start to pick up. They'll be out of the northwest with occasional gusts upwards of 30 miles an hour. And we'll all get pretty darn chilly as we go overnight tonight, falling back into the 30s. And some of our northwestern counties could even reach the low 30s tonight. By noon tomorrow, not a lot of warming taking place. We're in the 40s and a few 50-degree readings by noon following this cold front. Now, that's some good news because we have another cold front that's going to come in early Monday morning, and that's going to bring us even colder temperatures across the area. Our camera 7th and range line. We've got some clouds out there in Joplin right now. 51. The wind is variable at about 4 miles an hour out there. Temperatures around the region, you can tell where the clouds have been all morning long. You've got the warmer temperatures, parts of Oklahoma, Missouri, and Arkansas, where we're still in the low to mid 50s, and out there where the skies have been cleared through the morning hours, still a little bit cooler in the low to mid 40s across the northern half of our area. Mostly cloudy skies through the morning, 58 by 11 o'clock. Now, ahead of the front, we're looking at highs into the upper 60s. However, some of our northwestern counties, that includes places like Yates Center, Burlington, you might not make the upper 60s, but you'll still at least make the mid 60s out there. So, again, you're going to get a little cooler. You're also going to get a little cooler, a little faster than the rest of us as well, because you're going to be right there as that front rolls through this afternoon. We're going to have, again, mostly cloudy skies, an isolated shower or two possible. Once we get on the backside of that front, those winds will start gusting, again, upwards of 30, and our overnight lows falling back into the 30s overnight tonight. Then we go into our Sunday. Sunday looking to be about the low 60s out there, but off to our west, cold front. They're expecting some severe thunderstorms, mainly out by Wichita, stretching down possibly toward Oklahoma City, almost right along the I-35 corridor. That cold front and those thunderstorms begin to approach our area by Sunday evening into the overnight hours. There's still some question as to whether or not these storms are going to be packing the same punch when they get here or not, but at least right now, some of us could see some stronger storms with some small hail and perhaps some gusty winds out there. And then once that cold front rolls through, we're going to have early highs on Monday. We're talking highs maybe no later than 8, 9 o'clock in the low 60s, and then that cold front is going to make it a little bit colder. So here's a look at the 3-day outlook going into Sunday evening and overnight. We do have a low end risk for some stronger storms in parts of Kansas and Oklahoma out there. So we'll keep an eye on this. This risk could be removed, or it could be upgraded or it could be expanded. There's a lot of questions as to whether or not our atmosphere here will support those storms as they roll in from the west. So it's something to keep an eye on, and of course we'll keep an eye on it for you as well. So again, early highs in the low 60s, temperatures falling through the day, upper 20s for our overnight lows Monday, upper 40s on Tuesday, and then we'll warm back up a bit with another round of thunderstorms possible by Thursday. That's a check of your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
Feels good to be home. Ashley's anniversary sale, or finance your new furniture with a low monthly payment and 0% interest for 7 years. Shop your local Ashley store today.
A stay-at-home parent used his free time to help with the search for a missing 11-year-old.
Desiree Montella shares what motivated him to help with the search.
I'm a stay-at-home parent, and I got some free time, and honestly, I just wanted to get out and do what I could. I'd want somebody to do that if it was either of my children.
This is what motivated Kevin Zavinsky to go out and look for Isabel Patera, the 11-year-old who Chesterfield police tells us was diagnosed with an intellectual disability, was last seen on Monday evening leaving her home after she got upset while playing a game with her sisters.
We have 6 search teams that are out.
While search efforts ramped up to find her, Zavinsky had a hunch.
I just seen that her mom had mentioned that she liked water. I saw Falling Creek was nearby. I saw it was, a cool area of Falling Creek, and I was like, if I was a kid, that's where I'd be.
And followed this feeling to Clarendon Park.
I went off the trail and, kind of just tried to make my way back and forth from the bank to where I could, and, I happened to be crossing over a little stream and looked, and I saw that flash of pink.
That's when he found Patera sitting in a clearing within the woods, scratched up and cold.
Honestly, I told her she was a tough little girl because I'm out here, sweater and a vest, and I was cold, and she's, she made it all night. Luckily, I had a first aid kit, so I got the emergency blanket out, wrapped her up in that.
Zavinsky dialed 911, a call leading up to this.
It's confirmed. We found her.
The moment Chesterfield police learned the 11-year-old girl was found alive and safe by a community member.
And at this point, that person probably needs a great thank you.
For Zavinsky,
seeing her and her mom hugging was all I could have asked for.
Watching the young girl reunite with her family was everything.
I'm so just elated. I'm very, very happy.
It's great that he was able to get out there and that he managed to find her, because
Absolutely.
under any certain circumstances it could have had a much more
and just
tragic
going above
ending.
and beyond too. Like, most people might not think to go and do that, but he went out there and he found her, which is incredible.
Yeah, with everyone else looking, he ended up being the one.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, coming up, Pittsburgh is the latest to install cameras aimed to help identify stolen vehicles. Our very own Fernanda Silva will share more.
And we've got a cold front getting ready to roll into the area. It's going to bring in a few showers and some cooler temperatures. We'll take another look at that forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Welcome to Miss Daisy's, where style meets comfort. Give your home the makeover it deserves.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:26. I'm Elise Noe. A third adult has been charged in connection with the fatal shooting and the wounding of at least 25 others during the celebration of the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl victory. This man, Terry Young, faces multiple charges, including second-degree murder, unlawful use of a weapon, and 2 counts of armed criminal action. During the rally following the Chiefs' Super Bowl victory, Young and 2 other individuals approached another person. A verbal argument commenced and one individual pulled out a gun. Young responded by pulling out a gun and advancing toward the individual. Surveillance video shows Young appearing to shoot several times. One woman, Lisa Lopez Galvin, was killed during the incident, in addition to the dozens injured. Authorities say due to the scope of the investigation, additional charges are still expected. Area high schoolers flocked to Crowder College yesterday for the school's Aggie Day. The event brings together future Farmers of America students to compete in 15 different contests. Around 1,800 students took part, judged by local FFA instructors and community volunteers.
80-plus schools from across the 4-state area to compete in 16 career development events that the FFA advisors from our area have prepared students for in different teams, such as ag mechanics, livestock judging, meat science, agronomy, dairy foods, everything that may be involved in agriculture and food production. We have a contest that correlates with those.
On top of the 1,800 students, 300 more people were involved in putting on the competition. KOAM's very own Tanya Bach had a cup of conversation with Pittsburgh residents at the Pittsburgh Public Library. The event allows residents to hear from Tanya firsthand about working at KOAM and how she balances that with her personal life. Those who attended were able to hear stories of Tanya's childhood all the way to where she is now.
Because I see her on TV all the time, it's nice to hear her talk in person and see what all she's doing and what's going on, not only with the TV station, her job, but her personal life, what she likes to do.
The next cup of conversation will be on April 18th, where those who attend can meet Morning Sun General Manager Justin Crane.
And we've got a relatively decent start. Now, here's what happens, though, when we're on the morning show. We're moving around this whole studio. I don't always make it back to the weather computers. We've had a change here, and some of you at home are probably watching going, why isn't this man talking about it? Well, I don't always make it back to the weather computers. So we're going to take a look at that change here in just a second. First, we got the clouds, our camera, downtown Joplin on the Cornell complex. MoDOT camera on 32nd and Range Line looking back to the west. We've had those cloudy skies out there all morning. Here's the change. Take a look at this. Very dense fog is developed in those clear sky areas, which of course does make sense with what we've had here lately. Zero visibility in Iola, 0.3 of a mile in Chanute, a mile in Yates Center. We've just got this one zone here, and we now have dense fog advisories for parts of southeast Kansas that will run until 10 o'clock in the morning. So again, I apologize. During the morning show, we're moving everywhere. Don't always make it back to the weather computers to check on the latest changes, and fog, of course, can change very quickly, but we do have that. So if you're out there driving, do be aware of the dense fog, especially around Iola, Yates Center, and Chanute, and if you're on the Highway 54 corridor. All right, 51 in Joplin right now, 47 in Pittsburgh, and temperatures around the region where the clouds have been, it's a little warmer still, low to mid 50s out there. And up north where we've had the clearer skies and we've got that fog, a little cooler, low to mid 40s across the area. That cold front expected this afternoon. Our northwestern counties, of course, will get a little cooler faster. We're going to be mostly cloudy, isolated showers along and ahead of that front, but most of us remain dry. Most of us highs in the upper 60s before the front rolls through. Behind the front, winds pick up, start gusting at 30 miles an hour out of the north, and our temperatures will continue to gradually fall into the evening and overnight. We'll talk more about what this cold front's going to do and about the next cold front that's on the way and the full forecast in a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, the city of Pittsburgh is the most recent one in the area to install cameras to recognize the license plates of stolen vehicles and wanted suspects. The technology is already being used in 7 Southeast Kansas law enforcement agencies and Jasper County, Missouri. KOAM's Fernanda Silva has more.
Pittsburgh citizens have seen 14 cameras like this one being put up around the city. The equipment raised concerns for some of the residents who shared their thoughts on social media. I hope it's not so they can start charging us for driving on the highways, wrote one. They want to track our every move, said another one. Unconstitutional. Looks like Big Brother. KOAM spoke to the Pittsburgh Deputy Chief of Police to address these concerns and understand how the flock cameras work.
One of the speculations that we've heard is obviously privacy concerns a big deal, but this is going to be more of a societal question than it is our question to ask. Right now the cameras are available as a technology, and they've been shown to actually help detect and reduce crime.
According to the Pittsburgh Deputy Chief of Police, the camera captures a one-time snapshot of vehicles. The system keeps the images for 30 days. The equipment looks to see if that particular license plate number has been entered into the National Crime Information Center. They want to check if the license plate number is associated with a wanted person, a stolen motor vehicle or license plate, a missing person alert, or some other alert that a law enforcement agency has entered into NCIC. Henderson says that if the license plate is flagged when checked against the national database, an immediate notification is sent to the city's dispatch center. If the car is not listed on the database,
the car drives by and it still gets an image of the vehicle, it still runs the license plate and gets an image of that vehicle, but it does nothing beyond that.
He also emphasized that the cameras don't do facial recognition and are not designed or intended to be used for traffic enforcement. The sample was shared with our team by the Allen County Sheriff's Office, which already uses the flock cameras as an extra resource.
Have it helped the city of Pittsburgh already with anything?
We're kind of doing a soft rollout with this internally, trying to just kind of build up the system, get used to it, figure out the best methodology for using it. But in that soft rollout, we've identified a couple stolen motor vehicles already, and at least I think one stalking incident. So it's proving very beneficial to us already.
He said the cameras are based outskirts of town, trying to catch vehicles coming in mostly. In Pittsburgh, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
According to the Deputy Chief of Police, the money used for that investment comes from the public safety sales tax. Pittsburgh and the Community Flock Group are currently on a 2-year contract, and after that period, they'll decide whether the system fits their needs. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Shannon joins us to share his big 3 stories of the week. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Only at Vanguard, you're more than just an investor.
And soon.
Welcome back. We've got Shannon Becker in the studio with his big 3 news stories of the week. Good morning, Shannon. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Let's take a look at the live and local stories. What's happening where you live? It was a cold case. Happened on Oscar Talley Road in December of 1990. That's some of the ropes that were used to tie what they named a girl Grace Doe in 1990. They couldn't find her identification. It wasn't until 2021 through DNA. It's really changed crime investigation, right? Her name was Shauna Beth Garber. She was 22 years old. Sheriff Mike Hall at the time began that DNA search, and then Sheriff Rob Evanson, who's the current sheriff, he also allowed the detectives to continue to work on this case. They even interviewed the BTK killer about 1.5 years ago.
Fascinating.
They have decided, though, Talfie Reeves, who died in November 2021, about 6 people have come forward now since he is deceased. Detectives laid out the entire story yesterday in a press conference in McDonald County. It's an interesting story. It's a national story. I know people all across the region are talking about it. It's on our news tab. We brought it to you live yesterday, KOAM News Now. Our number 2 story, a turkey. Gobble, gobble, gobble. Do you do good turkey? Come on, get it to me.
I don't think I could.
Oh, you're too smart.
Gobble.
All right, so we're going to take that. A turkey through the windshield of a tractor trailer near Sarcoxy. Yeah, turkey died, hit the driver. Driver crashed approaching that Sarcoxy exit at 29. It could have been a really, really dangerous thing. Of course, it did crash, but no one was injured, just minor injuries to the driver. Turkeys can kill people.
Yeah,
going through the windshield
there's been
like
a lot we've been seeing just across the country.
One of my friends said, new fear unlocked, turkeys through my windshield.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. Oh my goodness.
Our number 1 story, another story we brought you live, local on the state line. It was Scott Burleson, wanted for 2nd-degree murder. Yesterday, U.S. Marshals arrested him. He's in the Jasper County Jail currently. The day started out yesterday, a stolen pickup truck in Southwest City. Authorities thought, well, it's most likely Scott Burleson. And it ended on a dead-end road, oddly, on the state line. Isn't that appropriate? He was arrested after he crashed that truck into some trees. He'd run out of road. It was a residence and private property, and they surrounded the area and then took him into custody. It's a March 2nd stabbing death of a local man. We were there live when that happened.
Right, yes,
of course, we've been following this story every breath of the way.
Yes.
More on our news tab, KOAM News Out. Oh, thank you. And then our bonus story of the week. Yesterday morning, about 1:20 in the morning, a devastating fire in Chanute. 24 apartments in this huge complex here, and 1 person has died. Also, another person flown critical to a burn unit. I don't have an update yet on them. The Kansas State Fire Marshal is there. The ATF was there yesterday. They're taking a look to see if accelerant was used possibly in this fire. It's just due diligence from what I understand. They always investigate anything like this, obviously, that's so major where death is involved, but it's just part of the protocol of researching what occurred. More details. We'll continue to follow this story in Chanute. It's our bonus story of the week, our KOAM News Now Big 3.
Wonderful, Shannon. Thank you so much again for all that you do for us in the community. Can't thank you enough.
I love it. Thank you.
We'll be right back.
The real circus is the room. You have the power to make them feel right at home. Ritz, a taste of welcome.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News 742. Now on this Friday morning, we're taking a live look from our camera on top of the Cornell Complex downtown Joplin. Winds are calm for now, but that will change a little later, and we've got clouds out there. MoDOT camera, 32nd in range line. Looking back to the west, it is cloudy. We're not seeing that much sunshine, and same up in Pittsburgh as well. From the KDOT camera on 69 just south of Pittsburgh, we've got some cloudy skies out there. We also have some fog now to contend with. Iola, Chanute, Yates Center, all dealing with very reduced visibilities. Iola is at 0 visibility right now. We have some patchy fog around the Grand Lake area as well, impacting Miami and Grove, and as such we have dense fog advisories in those same areas, and these run until 10 o'clock this morning. So if you are traveling out west, do keep that in mind, that we do have some dense fog to contend with out there for that morning commute. As we head into the afternoon, then we're going to have to contend with a cold front that's going to roll into our northwestern counties. So some of you up here, Chanute, Fredonia, Yates Center, Parsons, you may only reach the mid 60s for highs. Everyone else should at least make the upper 60s before that front starts to roll through. With that front along and ahead of it, there could be an isolated shower or two. As you can see, it's going to be very isolated across the area. 98% of us will very likely remain dry. And behind the front, the winds are going to pick up. The skies will clear out a little bit toward tomorrow morning. Winds will be gusting out of the north at about 30 miles an hour at times, and our temperatures tonight falling back into the 30s, and some of us could even fall back into the low 30s tonight. And by tomorrow, by noon, even though we've got some sunshine ahead of more clouds rolling in, so you can see temperatures not really moving a lot out there. Right now in Joplin, there's those clouds, 51. The wind is variable at about 4 miles an hour. Around the region where the clouds have been the thickest so far, still warmest as we're still in the low, even up toward the mid 50s. And out where it's been a little clear, it's warming up progressively, hanging out in the mid 40s now across parts of southeast Kansas and into the northern part of southwest Missouri. Mostly cloudy as we get our day started, 58 by 10 and 11 o'clock this morning. Again, a few isolated showers along and ahead of that front. Mostly cloudy, highs upper 60s. The winds pick up after that front rolls through. We'll go partly cloudy through the evening and overnight, falling back into the 30s. And the other thing I want to talk to you about is the next cold front. This one is going to be a little more potent. By Sunday afternoon, thunderstorms along this front. Some of those could be severe for our friends out west, especially along the 35 corridor. Now, the question is whether or not our atmosphere will be destabilized enough to support the strong storms as they roll east and reach our area by Sunday evening. So by about 7, 8 o'clock, we'll have these thunderstorms rolling in. Thunderstorms do seem likely, but again, the question is whether or not they'll still be packing the same punch as they continue on their journey eastward across the area. So we'll keep an eye on these storms for you. They'll be Sunday evening and overnight into very early Monday morning. And as of right now, at least, we do have a low-end risk for some stronger storms in parts of our western counties for Sunday evening and the overnight hours. So again, we'll keep a close eye on this for you over the next few days. Upper 50s tomorrow, low 60s on Sunday, early highs Monday in the low 60s. And that front rolls through, say, about 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Temperatures falling behind that, upper 20s for our lows, only into the upper 40s on Tuesday. And we'll start to warm up again next week, at least a little bit, with our warmest day on Thursday with some more thunderstorm chances as we head into Thursday as well. Let's check your forecast. Now we're going to send it over to Elise with Consumer Watch.
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, Easter shopping and spending this year is expected to reach a near record level. The National Retail Federation says in an analytics survey that consumers are expected to spend about $22.4 billion to celebrate the Easter season. That total would be the second highest ever. Last year, consumers spent a record $24 billion on Easter shopping thanks to a late calendar day of Easter. The survey says consumers plan to spend on average of $177.06 per person. If you don't see your Wendy's order, look up. DoorDash and drone company Wing are offering a new delivery option for Wendy's customers. Drone delivery will be available on the checkout page of the DoorDash app for customers who purchase eligible menu items in the participating location. The pilot program is starting in Christiansburg, Virginia, and currently runs in parts of Australia as well. A new type of milk is heading to stores from a galaxy far, far away. Lucasfilm, the creator of Star Wars, is partnering with TrueMoo to release a blue milk. The vanilla-flavored milk with a blue hue is a nod to what the popular character Luke Skywalker drank in the first Star Wars movie. The milk is part of the studio's Imperial March product line and is set to hit the shelves on April 17th. And that's a wrap up of our Consumer Watch. Let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
From the moment you call.
Thunder Friday Nights is sponsored locally by Downstream Casino Resort and Vance Automotive Group.
Well, how do you break the ice to make hot connections? Well, in Southern California, people are stripping down and plunging into ice baths with strangers.
Okay. California. All right. Well, they're hoping to form lasting relationships. Tanya Bacchus says the chilly details from Venice, California.
These couples are going way outside of their comfort zone. Testing the waters for a lasting connection with a 3-minute first date inside a tub filled with icy water.
38 degrees. Oh my. It's going to get hot in there though, I promise you.
This Ice Pass LA mixer drew more than 100 people ready to make a love connection.
I'm okay with the idea of being in a relationship, so I was like, I'm sort of putting myself out there in any way I can.
Icebreaker question. What is the greatest accomplishment of your life, Melanie?
Pre-written questions stimulate the flow of communication.
I'm just seeking authentic connection.
While medical studies indicate ice baths reduce inflammation, stress, and improve mental concentration, organizers say this sober way to meet people beats searching the dating apps or chilling at a bar.
Typically people, they're dressed up, they're putting on a facade on a first date of wanting to impress.
Here, that's all stripped away.
I really enjoyed it. I was nervous, but
I wasn't nervous about the date. We had a good connection, but I was totally nervous about being there. It was really cold.
You're doing something difficult together, so you're setting a foundation for whether it's a friendship or a relationship. You've started at a point where you're vulnerable.
Having extreme emotions when you're trying to meet someone helps you connect.
Yeah.
Whether the cold plunge leads to hot romance, these pairs have started the process with a warm friendship.
The hardest part is over.
We did it.
Yes.
Would recommend. 10 out of 10.
Well, pairs are chosen at random. Once they exit the ice bath, they are invited to warm up and intensify their connection inside a sauna.
This is so odd. Ice Pass LA says at least one couple that met during the past event is now engaged, and many other pairs have formed lasting relationships.
Don't knock it till you try it.
I guess. Whatever. I mean, it's look. You are of this generation, and you still think it's odd. So that makes me feel better that I'm not the only one who thinks it's strange.
No, I definitely wouldn't do that.
No, I certainly wouldn't either. Let's take one more quick look. We've got that dense fog out there across parts of southeastern Kansas. Zero visibility in Iola, 0.3 of a mile, Chanute, 0.8 in Yates Center. And as such, again, we do have dense fog advisories for those same areas, and these will continue until 10 o'clock this morning out there. We're going to skip right ahead to what we're expecting through the rest of the day. Mostly cloudy skies, isolated showers along and ahead of a cold front. Most of us stay dry. That cold front pushes through this afternoon. Temperatures gradually fall behind it, and winds pick up out of the north, gusting upwards of 30 miles an hour. We're going to have another look at your forecast and the news you need to know right after this.
It's a beautiful morning, Scotty, and we have an early game today.
Service. We are proud to salute Jack Carey, a four-state hero.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Newton County, Missouri authorities capture Scott Burleson following a manhunt. Burleson was wanted for the March 2nd stabbing death of Seth Langford. He faces charges of second-degree murder, first-degree robbery, and 2 counts of armed criminal action. A third adult has been charged in connection with the fatal shooting and the wounding of at least 25 others during the celebration of the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl victory. Terry Young faces multiple charges, including second-degree murder, unlawful use of a weapon, and 2 counts of armed criminal action. Additional charges are still expected. The Spiva Center for the Arts welcomed spring with a celebration of the art of floral design. The exhibit kicked off yesterday with an event to showcase the pictures of flowers. Those photos are part of a 3-day-long exhibit titled Spiva in Bloom. Additional events will be held later on today.
All right, today we're looking at highs ahead of this front, upper 60s, mostly cloudy skies, a few isolated showers out there along and ahead of that front as it moves in this afternoon. Behind the front, we're partly cloudy, much cooler than where we have been, and breezy. North winds gusting upwards of 30 miles an hour as our lows fall back into the 30s. Upper 50s tomorrow, watching some thunderstorm chances Sunday evening and overnight. That cold front with those storms will roll in Monday, early highs in the low 60s, and then temperatures falling through the day. Look at that, 28 Monday night, 47 on Tuesday. We'll warm back up and watch more thunderstorm chances by next Thursday.
Pretty chilly.
It's good compared to where we've been. It's gonna be pretty darn cold.
Yeah, you might want to stay inside and watch some basketball because March Madness is known for its nail-biting games and unexpected upsets. But one game got a little wild for a different reason.
In the second half of the Akron-Crichton NCAA tournament, game 1, the referee sneakers ripped apart, and he had to borrow the sneakers that the backup ref was wearing at midcourt. Talk about a wild situation. Absolutely. Lots of wild situations.
Wild situations,
today.
Lots of upsets with March Madness. My bracket busted the first game, so.
And it should still prove to be very interesting. Well, thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. A quick reminder, no KOAM news at noon today due to March Madness, but we will be here for the Dow and Doug will be here for the KOAM news at 5.
All right, have a great rest of your morning.